What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Angry Spud. In today's Spud Reacts, we are headed back to Sweden since we've been there for the past few videos, and we are here with 3 Star Vagabond, and he's going to tell us what not to do or things to avoid mistakes while we head to Sweden. So hopefully before you travel to Sweden, you check out this video. So let's go ahead and dive right in.
Swedish people are polite and friendly, and they don't like to make a big fuss. They often smile, but they might still be furious on the inside. This is a list of 10 things that you shouldn't do in Sweden.
Alright, I'm gonna already say off the bat, at least they're good at faking it till you make it, right? So if they're mad at you, they're just not gonna let it be known, right? They'll just talk behind your back, I guess. I guess that's better than not doing it to your face. Ooh, I would love to live out there, but I still want to be by water. Oh, like that. Huh.
So you want to visit the cold north and explore the lovely country of Sweden, but you don't want to make a fool of yourself. I'm here to help you with that. With this simple guide, you can avoid the worst pitfalls when you travel to Sweden. Let's kick things off with buying a round of drinks.
Ooh, buying a round of drinks.
So you're at a bar with some random Swedish people you've met, and you notice that your glass is empty. You want to be a good chap, so you surprise your new friends by bringing back a pint of beer for everyone at the table. Imagine your surprise when you're not met with cheers and thanks. Instead, you're met with suspicious looks. Buying rounds isn't all that common in Sweden. Everyone typically buys their own drinks. If you buy a round, every Swede starts to do a mental calculation. We're 5 people at the table. That means I'm gonna have to drink 5 more drinks, and I was planning on going home soon. A Swede will feel obligated to pay you back for the drink you bought him. You just wanted to be nice, but instead you accidentally caused him anxiety.
I mean, I could see that too. You never want to have somebody just feel like they owe you.
Imagine that you're starting a new job at a Swedish company. At the fika break, you start asking people how much money they make.
Is that key lime
Everyone
pie?
suddenly looks away and mutters something about a meeting they forgot. You just made a big mistake. Asking people about their salary is considered a big faux pas in Sweden. Swedish society is rooted in socialism and equality. Things are changing these days, but it's still considered rude to ask people about their salaries.
That's normal here too.
A Swede will happily tell you about their divorce or their mental illnesses, but how much they make, that's a secret they'll take to the grave. But what if you start by first telling everyone how much you make? Well, that leads to the next taboo topic.
So now it's going to sound like you're bragging, I guess, if you tell them how much you make.
Boasting is very rude in Sweden. You might be good at something or make a lot of money, but you don't talk about it. Jantelagen, the law of Jante, is a Swedish term for not believing that you're better than anyone else. The closest English term is the tall poppy syndrome, about cutting the head off any poppy that grows taller than the others. People might smile and appear impressed if you boast about something. I've seen that
statue before.
But don't be surprised if you're never invited back again to a party with that crowd. They won't tell it to your face, but you've just become a boasting pariah that people want to avoid.
Interesting. But those are kind of like things in America too.
The next thing not to do is pretty simple. Don't assume that all of Scandinavia is the same. Norwegians and Swedes are different. Danes and Swedes are different. And Finnish people aren't even Scandinavian. They're part of the Nordics. Each country has their own customs, their own language, and their own set of values.
Ooh, that's cool.
Danish people are all drunk and lazy, for example. And Finnish people are depressed and speak monosyllabically. And Norwegians just live off their oil money and wander around in the mountains. They don't do anything useful. So the next time you're thinking of saying that Sweden is similar to Denmark, then you're implying that we are drunk and lazy as well.
All right, how many people did he just offend right there? I'm sure there's somebody who's been like, no, that's not what we're like. Somebody, you gotta let me know.
No, but seriously, we see the differences in our cultures very, very clearly, even if you might not. Have you ever been on an escalator in Sweden and noticed that you have a line of people behind you, sighing in frustration and looking annoyed? Chances are you've been standing on the left side of the escalator. Never stand on the left side. The left side is for walking and the right side is for standing still.
Yeah, just like cars.
This is mostly a problem in bigger cities like Stockholm. I don't even know if they have escalators in smaller towns. If you stand on the left side, no one will shout at you, because Swedes dislike confrontation. But if looks could kill, you'd be stabbed more times than Julius Caesar.
Ooh. So is this an airport? Because this definitely looks like also a mall. And those, yeah, okay, there I see luggage. Okay, duh. Okay, it's an airport. I was about to say, because it looks like a mall almost, but also an airport at the same time.
A simple little rhyme to help you remember where to stand. Stand on the right, now that's all right. Stand on the left, and you're a stupid bastard.
Arlanda Airport, duh. Jeez, right in front of my face.
In the US, it's common to call politicians religious and God-worshipping and God-fearing, and that's intended to be a good thing. If a politician in Sweden were to call themselves God-fearing, there would be quite a few raised eyebrows. Religion isn't very big in Sweden. Many people have some sort of faith though, and we do like churches. They're big and cool and they look absolutely awesome, but you don't really go there to worship God. That's where you listen to choirs and concerts instead. Most people in Sweden are atheist or at least agnostic, and it's seen as a bit of an odd thing to start to talk about your faith. The best way to ensure that you're never invited to any of the cool midsummer parties is to say that you're deeply religious. If you have to say anything, just say that you're spiritual. That's much more accepted.
That's very interesting.
Do you speak like this most of the time? Then you're not really gonna fit in Sweden. Swedish people are pretty quiet, and we appreciate people speaking softly if they have to speak at all. Also, having your phone on speaker mode is just completely unacceptable.
Okay, that is just number one here. Even if you go down like the courthouse or something like that, even in the most like random places, you know, going out to eat and it's quiet, people will literally have their conversation on speaker and they'll be talking about just random stuff. They'll literally be fighting on speaker and you're just kind of like, can you take that somewhere else? That's 100% true here. So a lot of those people could not go to Sweden.
Anywhere. Just forget about that feature completely when you go to Sweden. Use your headphones like everyone else. However, Swedish people aren't always quiet. When a Swede is drunk, they will be as loud and obnoxious as humanly possible. I'm not saying that we Swedes are like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I'm not saying that we aren't. Do you enjoy a bit of personal space? Maybe a couple of decimeters or so? Well, Swedish people need at least a couple of meters at all times. During COVID, everyone had to stand 2 meters apart, but no one really noticed the difference in Sweden. Don't sit next to someone on the subway if there's an empty seat anywhere else in the car, and don't stand too close when standing in line. Otherwise, you'll make us poor Swedes extremely uncomfortable, and you'll come off as some sort of sociopath, or possibly American. And whatever you do, don't start talking to people when standing that close. That's just plain weird.
Really? I wonder how accurate these are.
Next is a short but sweet one. Don't talk about the Finnish hockey team. Yes, the Finnish are pretty good at hockey. You don't have to rub it in. Sweden has been neutral for a long time, and we haven't been at war for ages. But the hockey matches between Finland and Sweden are as close as we get.
I do not like hockey. I just don't. I think it's fun. I think ice skating's fun, but I just couldn't play hockey.
There's one thing that makes Swedish people furious more than anything else. It's not murder. People die sometimes. It happens. It's not talking crap about Sweden. We do that ourselves anyway all the time. The worst thing you can do in Sweden is to cut in line. Standing in line is holy in Sweden. You must respect the queue and you cannot try to cut in line. Granted, this is a bit of an extreme example. This is the line to get into Comic-Con Stockholm, but the principle still stands. You remember the law of Jante I mentioned earlier? Basically, don't believe that you're special and that you deserve to move ahead of others in the queue. It's all about fairness. Everyone hates standing in line, but everyone has to share the pain, and no one gets special treatment.
So I found that kind of helpful. A lot of the things he mentioned is the same here in America, though, especially like the cutting in line. If you do that, there's some people that are just like, they don't care, you know what I mean? And some people just let you go in front of them. Say you're at a grocery store and you're buying one item and somebody else has a whole cart full. They'll let you go in front of them just because. Some people are like that. But cutting in line in general, it is rude and it's actually quite annoying. However, a lot of the other things, it's just, that's kind of normal, you know, that you don't want to do in a lot of places, I guess. So I don't know, that was helpful. I can't wait to see the next one. He has another part where some more mistakes, so I'm going to get into those too. So I hope Dar the Traveler didn't do any of these when he was in Sweden. So if not, he got those looks and they're still talking about it to this day. So that's all I have for this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one.